Good afternoon. Welcome to the North of Tyne Cabinet meeting. We're here in Newcastle City Centre this time. So we only have one apology. That's Lisa Goodwin, who's the Mayoral Ambassador to the voluntary community sector. Are there any declarations of interest that haven't already been made? The answer seems to be no.
Forgive me, I haven't yet had time to feed in the fact that I've just become Commissioner of the Port of Blyth. There's no direct conflict of interest, but I'll feed it into the to Democratic Services.
Thanks very much, Lucy. We've got a note of that now then. Thank you. And in terms of announcements, can first of all I say a hearty congratulations to Dame Norma Redfern, which is well deserved after many years of public service, both in local government and obviously in education before that. So congratulations, Norma.
Thank you very much, and thanks everyone for your support. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Everybody who's watching online will have noticed that we signed the North East devolution deal on Friday. There's been a huge amount of work. I'm sure everyone around this table has lost count of the number of hours that it's taken to get us over this line, but it is going to make a significant difference to our wider region. Of course, we're building on work we've been doing here collectively for years now, and it'd be encouraging to see that happen at a larger scale. There is, of course, a public consultation, and everybody is entitled to take part in that, and it's only after that does it actually come signed into law. So if any of the other leaders would like to say anything, if not, we'll move on. Norma.
Well, I like to say I'm delighted, okay, and I've said it time and time again, 10 years on, right, we've actually arrived, and I think the future looks really bright. I think we've achieved really positive things here working on this side of with the three of us. You can imagine what we can do with the right attitude, with the 7 of us working right across the region, and make the lives of our residents better in every way. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Norma. And let's point out that this is a cross-party collaboration. We've got that.
Well, all I can do is reiterate the points that have been made. I think it is a very exciting time for the region as a whole. It's a very exciting time for Northumberland because it will open a great number of doors that have been previously closed to us in terms of making decisions together. I think it's been a revelation the way the North of Tyne has worked since in my short time as leader, and just not 2 years yet. I've always been very pleased with the way we've worked, and I think the larger devolved authority will be fine. I dare say there might be the odd argument or two, but I'm sure we will get them resolved nicely, because it is all about the people, as you say, Dave Norma, and I'm with you completely on that.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you. Obviously, it's a huge opportunity for the region. It certainly in no shape or form replaces the multi-millions that have been decimated from us from local government settlement, and I think it is the elephant in the room about long-term sustainable funding to local government. But I would like to compliment the leaders of councils on the current combined authority and our colleagues in neighbouring authorities in the way that we've worked well together, and I think that the demonstration of collaboration and cooperation has been really, really positive.
And Lucy.
Thank you. And if I may, wearing my hat as Chair of the North East Local Enterprise Partnership, again, thank everybody. The collaboration and cooperation has been great. The leadership has been good to see. And the business communities, and as you know, the business membership organisations have been calling for this for some time. So it's great, it's exciting, and we will work positively together. So thank you.
Great, thank you. I mean, it's important to note there that everybody has spoken about collaboration and working together. And I know that that's what the public out there want from their politicians. They just want them to get stuff done, and that's what we've done. So let's move on. The minutes of the previous meeting agreed as a true record, and the confidential minutes at this point we can also, without revealing what was in them, if people are happy, that's a true record. Thank you. So the first substantive item on here, I'll just make a note on one of the proposals for Strawberry Place. There are significant economic ramifications on that don't quite stack up for the benefit of us as a council. So for that basis, as a North of Tyne Cabinet, I will suggest that we do not take that item and we defer it on the basis that it needs a lot more work and some more evidence before we proceed. Yeah, and that seems to be agreed. So that's the Strawberry Place development will not be getting funding from us. So let's move on and invite Carl to give this report.
Thank you, Mayor. My report today includes 5.7 million of new approvals, spanning nearly 1 million to help businesses, small businesses grow, housing development, helping businesses lower their energy usage, and the early development of community partnerships, including providing investment in voluntary community sector organisations, working in some of our most deprived communities. And these communities need it now more than ever. Over 3/4 of UK households are worried about the cost of living, alongside energy and fuel prices. The inflation rate of many household food staples is incredibly high. Milk, sugar, cheese and egg prices have all increased more than 30% in the last year. Whilst the latest data shows that the economic backdrop continues to be dominated by a weak economy, the only economy in the G7 to shrink, a high inflation and a cost of living crisis. The Office of Budget Responsibility is forecasting the biggest fall in living standards for 45 years, according to the Institute for Social Studies, and this is the worst decade for living standards since the 1920s. Taxes are at the highest level since the 1950s, as we all well know. Public services are struggling, never have so many paid so much for so little. That's why we're providing 900,000 to ensure our small businesses get the advice and support they need to access funding, grow and prosper. We have planned to give people good work and to boost wages and to make our region's economy fair. I commend my colleague Councillor Kilgour for the 16,500 learning opportunities being delivered this year, the 750 residents benefiting from our skills boot camps, and the 53 projects for our crowdfunding North of Tyne. We're working hard hand in hand with local authorities to deliver our targets on child poverty. In 30 schools, with 70 schools signed up to the programme for poverty for children, poverty proof in the school day, poverty for children and poverty for the whole families. So we're delighted that partnership goes from strength to strength. We all have a role to play and a contribution to make to work together in this time of crisis for our poorest families. Our mantra is zero poverty, zero carbon, because we need to invest in visitors that will stand the test of time. Reducing energy usage and the carbon emissions is becoming increasingly important to businesses, but they often struggle to afford it. The SME Decarbonation Project, led by Newcastle City Council, will deliver a tailored energy efficiency support programme for 120 small and medium enterprises and voluntary community sector organisations by 2025. Provide energy efficient grant support to 49 SMEs, achieving 677 tonnes of greenhouse gas savings. Give grants that will contribute to up to 45% of the cost of living improvements and provide ongoing net zero support. Most delighted that my colleague Mayor Redfern has managed to bring forward the Esplanade site on the Brownfield Housing Fund, a site that many of us in North Tyneside have been working for some time to bring back forward, so I'm delighted to see that come forward. I recommend this report to Cabinet, Mayor.
Thank you, Carl. There's a lot in there, isn't there, when you run through it quickly, all we're doing. Lucy.
Thank you very much. A really helpful report, much appreciated. I just wanted to say a few words about the 900,000 to help the small businesses. And if I may, Chair, just to play back something you said in your introductory comments, and that is that we need to build on the work we've done collectively. So it's fantastic. We know that SMEs are the bedrock of the business community here. And there is so much great work that has been done over the last 10 years or so, led by the Local Enterprise Partnership, in conjunction with others. And I guess my plea is that we don't reinvent the wheel, that we build on the good work that's been done already, and we share the best practice that has come from that work, from the North East Growth Hub, the peer networks, the support for high potential startups, Scale Up North East, Supply Chain North East Business Support, Provider Network, and the support around sectors. So it's great to see this further investment, and my message is don't reinvent the wheel, build on the strengths that we already have and share the best practice and make it all even better, which goes back to our earlier comments about working together, pooling resources, sharing ambition and sharing that best practice. Thank you.
Thanks, Lucy. So the specific fund there, that £900,000 for the Finance Ecosystem Coordination Project, so that's part of our larger investment fund that we agreed last some time ago, I can't remember the exact date, but this includes a £4 million fund for supporting social enterprises and cooperatives to grow, £10 million of our investment in a much wider fund, which we'll be ready to make full announcements on soon, about bringing in capital for startups and scale-ups for businesses to grow here, which is so important. We've got a lot of bright people coming with a lot of good ideas, viable business propositions, but without the finance to grow, we're not going to see those companies developing here. And we don't want to see them going off to Oxford and Cambridge. Nice places though they are, they can take care of themselves. This is about developing economic growth here. So I can't see anyone else wanting to come in which case, let's move on. It's notable actually that we're on 4,766 jobs in our pipeline. It's a figure I often quote and it goes up all the time, so I have to keep re-remembering it. And another 2,700 protected. So let's look through these recommendations. So we note the progress to date and the key milestones that Carl outlined in his report. We note that. And we will delegate, this is now amended of course, delegate the authority of the Chief Executive to make final approvals and associated decisions for the £900,000 finance ecosystem project, £384,000 for the project at the Esplanade, £800,000 for SME decarbonisation and £147,000 for community partnerships. And just for the record, this does not include the Strawberry Place housing scheme. Is that agreed? That's agreed. And we know that, of course, the government has now approved the North of Tynes UK Shared Prosperity Fund investment plan, and we authorise the Director of Finance in consultation with the appropriate Cabinet members to allocate projects to that programme. Which, if someone nods, that's agreed. Thank you. So let's move on to the budget reports. And for this, is it Janice? Moving this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, everybody, this is the final budget proposals for 23-24 and taking us up to indicatively 2027. So it sets out the proposals across all the different funding packages that we have now across the authority. And I guess what I thought was important to highlight in the report in the context of setting next year's budget, that since the combined authority started, we spent close to 172 million over that first period, that first 5 years, across an increasing number of funding programmes. And the proposals as they stand today is potentially close to 98 million to be spent during the course of next financial year as well. So significant sums of money of investment to be delivered there. With that in mind, the report also sets out, as Cabinet have already talked about, devolution, that whilst there is an indicative longer-term programme for the combined authority, that Cabinet and the Mayor will have to consider those existing allocations and proposals in light of that we will be moving into a different devolution deal, but that can be done over the course of the next financial year. We have engaged and consulted with Overview and Scrutiny, and their feedback's included in section 14 of the report. And whilst they have no issues and concerns with the material content of the budget report, the challenge remains how we engage with the public on the combined authorities budget, and that will remain something that we'll continue to try and work through for next year and indeed beyond. I guess it's easier to consult with the business sector and indeed our community and voluntary sector colleagues, but how we engage with the wider public on this particular budget is quite a challenge for us, but we will continue to look at that. And happy to take any questions, but recommend the report to the Mayor and Cabinet.
Thank you very much, Janice. I can't see anyone indicating with questions. Obviously, the report's there. I'm sure people have read them in detail. So let's just look through the recommendations. So we consider and agree the budget proposals as written there, the corporate budget, the investment fund budget in section 4, adult education budget in section 5, brownfield land programme budget in section 6, UK SPF programme section 7, Rural England Prosperity Fund, and just to make sure that people do know, we do invest in the rural areas as well. and the North East Create Growth Programme as in section 9, which, are they all agreed, please? They're agreed. Thank you very much. Note that the Tyne and Wear levies will be issued on the 15th of February 23, as per written there, and that's just in line with the Transport Levying Bodies regulation. We note that, and we'll agree to hold the reserves as laid out in section 12, as per written there, which is all agreed. Thank you. And then we note the North East Local Enterprise Partnership Accountable Body Budget, that's in section 13. We approve the Treasury Management Strategy with the Minimum Revenue Provision Policy and the Annual Investment Strategy. That's a decision. Do we agree with that? Thank you. And we note the comments set out made by the Overview and Scrutiny Committee. And then item 6B is recommended just to note the contents of the report from the North East LEP Revenue Budget and the Invest North East England Revenue Budget as per 6B. So we note that. Which moves us on to item 7, which is the Budget Monitoring Report, which again is you, Janice, I believe.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Of the position at the end of December and that forecast looking forward. Largely forecasting on budget, as expected, a potential very small overspend on the investment fund, but that's easily funded through drawdown against that investment fund reserves. No real issues of concern at all with performance at the moment in terms of delivering the report, and happy to recommend it to Cabinet for approval. To note.
Thank you, Janice. And that point you made on the investment fund, that's just us getting stuff delivered faster. So that's a good thing. That's not what people would normally consider an overspend. So the recommendations are to note this, and I can see a few people nodding, so we note that. Thank you. Item number 8 is the North East Local Enterprise Partnership Funding Decisions Update. So these are decisions made by the Local Enterprise Partnership, not the North of Tyne Cabinet, but for legal reasons, we are the accountable body, so we do just have to take account of this. So again, back to you, Janice. Busy day.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, it's basically, as you said, this is a note to Cabinet as accountable body to just approve retrospectively the decisions that the LEP board has actually made. So it's for information that you receive the report as accountable body.
Thank you. I can see people nodding for that, so that's covered. Thank you. Well, that's been quick, hasn't it? Isn't it wonderful to have quick meetings? So the date and time of the next meeting is scheduled for 4:30 p.m. on the 21st of March 2023, as opposed to our usual 2 p.m. start. That's also at Newcastle Civic Centre, so I'll be here. Thank you, everybody, for attending. We don't need to exclude the press and public because that item has already been covered. Thank you very much.